Hello and welcome to Baron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always, and I'm actually a really big fan of abstract strategy games. And today's game I want to talk about is a game that when I first saw it, I was really excited about, as it had a really unique idea to it. But after playing it, well, let's just get into this. I no longer have the box, but this is a game called Rock Me Archimedes. It is, again, an abstract strategy game. What you're doing is you are placing these marbles onto this little seesaw-like board here and trying to get your pieces to your end goal without letting the seesaw ever touch the table. To start, simply have each player decide which color they want to play as. One player will be white, one player will be blue. I think in other versions it's black. And then have each player decide which end is going to be theirs. Unfortunately, they're not marked, so you just kind of have to remember, okay, as white, I'm going this way, and as blue, you're going that way. And that's where you need to start it. On your turn in this game, you're only doing one of two actions, which, hey, that's a good start for an abstract strategy game, in my opinion. Some of my favorite ones are things where you have really simple choices on what to do for a turn, but strategy is how you choose to do that. So, your choices are to either add a new marble to the board, or roll the die and move the marbles you already have on the board. You'll see, other than the two colored ends, you have this colored area in the center here. That is where you add marbles. So at the start of your turn, if what you want to do is add a marble, you'll take one of your marbles and you'll add it to any empty space you have here in the center area. Your other option is to move the marbles. How you do that is you roll this die here. Now this is a little bit of a unique dice in that 3 of the sides are 3, 2 of the sides are 2, and 1 of the sides is 1. So most likely you're going to be moving a pretty good amount. But you'll roll the die, and then whatever you roll, you can move 1 or more marbles up to that number of spaces. So basically I can end up making 1 marble go 2 spaces. I think I might be going the opposite direction of what I said earlier. We'll just say this is blue now. Or I could have chosen to move this one 1 space and this one 1 space. There you go. There is one more rule about movement. You are allowed to jump your opponent's pieces as 1 full movement. So going from here to there, it just counts as 1 space. However, you're not allowed to jump your own pieces. Oh, stay on there. Also, you are allowed to move either direction, even though the white goal is this direction. I could choose to move a white ball this way. You might do this to intentionally try and, help the board balance more in your favor. Again, the win conditions are to either be the first player to get 4 marbles into your home area, or if any player causes the board to touch the table even just barely for the slightest nanosecond, then that player loses the game, regardless of which side does it. Whoever's turn it is, if they're messing with it and it causes it to touch, they lose the game. And I was really intrigued by the basic idea of this game, an abstract strategy game that adds in a little bit of dexterity, which is another one of my favorite genres of gaming. That sounds awesome. But when I played it in reality, it just didn't fully work out like I wanted it to, I guess. User experience may vary, but I can personally get 4 marbles all the way to an end zone with literally nothing on the opposite side weighing it down at all without touching the table. Yeah. I'm sure this would be way harder for younger players, but for me and my wife, when we played it, we really didn't have much of any trouble ever really worrying about the board touching the table. The thing seemed to barely rock much while we were playing, especially since you're not required to fully pick up a marble or anything as you're playing. You can just kind of slide it through little grooves on the board. Yeah, the board has these little grooves that make it kind of easy to just sort of pick your thing up and slightly move it along. They also show you where you're allowed to move. When you're moving the game, you're not allowed to move diagonal. You can only move up, down, left, right. I've also got mixed feelings about the dice in the game. The fact that it's split 3-3, 3-2-2, 1 made it a little weird in that I'm used to playing games with dice, and I get that, I guess, with the way they decide to distribute it, it sort of takes out a little bit of the luck, because I know a lot of people who play strategy games hate any sort of luck stuff in there, so I totally get that. And this one just made it sit at a weird middling spot for me. I'm like, well, it's not a normal D6 that's enough to make me feel like I'm getting screwed over by the dice, but also it's not quite enough for me to feel like I'm fully in control of what I'm doing. It's almost always 3, and just occasionally you seem to get a 1 or a 2. So, I don't know, it's not bad, it's just sort of different, I guess. But yeah, I'm sure younger players or people who don't have a steady hands might have a really hard time balancing it, but we never really did. Honestly, it's a game I feel like I could fix. For us personally, I think we would get some glass marbles or something, some marbles that are heavier than the ones it comes with, because the ones it comes with are really light marbles. I would barely even call these marbles. They are just, I don't know, technically a little plastic ball or whatever. So there's just not a lot of weight to them. I personally would probably switch them out with some more standard marbles if I could find 2 different color ones, and that would probably weigh it down more and probably make the game more difficult for us to play. You also may have noticed this down here. It comes with this little block of wood to stand the game on as you play. And again, I think personally for us, when we play, we just don't play this. We play it straight on the table, so it has less room to rock and easier to touch the ground. And even then, it's not too super hard for us to play as long as we're careful about our distribution. So yeah, like, I love the rocking mechanic. I just want the rocking mechanic to play more into it. If you're playing super careful, the board's just really never going to move much. And that seems to kind of take out the whole point of having the rocking board, you know? In case you didn't notice, it does all store together really nicely. Inside the base, you can put this little tray that has the marbles, and the die fits right in there, and then this thing just slides back on over it. Maybe if I can get it on there. There we go. Boom, and then it all just carries like that. That's one thing I really like about it. I really love abstract games that you don't really need to put back in their box, that kind of just sit out as a pretty table decoration. So that's cool. So I think I've gotten it through. Like, it doesn't seem like necessarily a bad game, just that the components don't fully add up to being a great game for me. So basically, I think as far as younger players are concerned, I'd say bear and approve. As far as older players are concerned, or maybe just people who have, you know, steady hands, not so much. You know, get some, change some of the improvements. Like, don't use that little block at all if you're an older player who actually can, you know, move stuff with balance well. Don't use that little bottom block, and yeah, maybe get some heavier marbles. So I guess that means overall I'll have to rate it. Rock Me Archimedes is a decently fun game that looks good on a table, and I think kids could really get a good kick out of, and with some improvements to the components, I guess you could say, that it could be fun for everyone else as well. We'll give it a middling okay.